Entering the Promised Land by Ginzberg. The first step in preparation for war was the selection of spies. To guard against a repetition of what had happened to Moses, Joshua chose as his messengers Caleb and Phinehas, on whom he could place dependence in all circumstances. 10. They were accompanied on their mission by 2 demons, the husbands of the she-devils Lilith and Mahlah. When Joshua was planning his campaign, these devils offered their services to him. They proposed that they be sent out to reconnoiter the land. Joshua refused the offer, but formed their appearance so frightfully that the residents of Jericho were struck with fear of them. 11. In Jericho the spies put up with Rahab. She had been leading an immoral life for 40 years, but at the approach of Israel she paid homage to the true God, lived the life of a pious convert, and as the wife of Joshua, became the ancestress of 8 prophets and of the prophetess Huldah. 12. She had opportunity in her own house of beholding the wonders of God. When the king's bailiffs came to make their investigations, and Rahab wanted to conceal the Israelitish spies, Phinehas calmed her with the words, "I am a priest, and priests are like angels, visible when they wish to be seen, invisible when they do not wish to be seen." 13. After the return of the spies, Joshua decided to pass over the Jordan. The crossing of the river was the occasion for wonders, the purpose of which was to clothe him with authority in the eyes of the people. Scarcely had the priests, who at this solemn moment took the place of the Levites as bearers of the ark, set foot in the Jordan, when the waters of the river were piled up to a height of 300 miles. All the peoples of the earth were witnesses of the wonder. 14. In the bed of the Jordan Joshua assembled the people around the ark. A divine miracle caused the narrow space between its staves to contain the whole concourse. Joshua then proclaimed the conditions under which God would give Palestine to the Israelites, and he added, if these conditions were not accepted, the waters of the Jordan would descend straight upon them. Then they marched through the river. When the people arrived on the further shore, the holy ark, which had all the while been standing in the bed of the river, set forward of itself, and, dragging the priests after it, overtook the people. The day continued eventful. Unassailed, the Israelites marched 70 miles to Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal, and there performed the ceremony bidden by Moses in Deuteronomy. 6 of the tribes ascended Mount Gerizim, and 6 Mount Ebal. The priests and the Levites grouped themselves about the holy ark in the vale between the 2 peaks. With their faces turned toward Gerizim, the Levites uttered the words, "Happy the man that maketh no idol, an abomination unto the Lord," and all the people answered Amen. After reciting 12 blessings similar to this in form, the Levites turned to Mount Ebal, and recited 12 curses, counterparts of the blessings, to each of which the people responded again with Amen. Thereupon an altar was erected on Mount Ebal with the stones, each weighing 40 seim, which the Israelites had taken from the bed of the river while passing through the Jordan. The altar was plastered with lime, and the Torah written upon it in 70 languages, so that the heathen nations might have the opportunity of learning the law. At the end it was said explicitly that the heathen outside of Palestine, if they would but abandon the worship of idols, would be received kindly by the Jews. All this happened on one day, on the same day on which the Jordan was crossed, and the assembly was held on Gerizim and Ebal, the day on which the people arrived at Gilgal, where they left the stones of which the altar had been built. 15. At Gilgal Joshua performed the rite of circumcision on those born in the desert, who had remained uncircumcised on account of the rough climate, and for other reasons. 16. And here it was that the manna gave out. It had ceased to fall at the death of Moses, but the supply that had been stored up had lasted some time longer. 17. As soon as the people were under the necessity of providing for their daily wants, they grew negligent in the study of the Torah. Therefore the angel admonished Joshua to loose his shoes from off his feet, for he was to mourn over the decline of the study of the Torah. 18. And bare feet are a sign of mourning. The angel reproached Joshua in particular with having allowed the preparations for war to interfere with the study of the Torah, and with the ritual service. Neglect of the latter might be a venial sin, but neglect of the former is worthy of condign punishment. 19. At the same time the angel assured Joshua that he had come to aid him, and he entreated Joshua not to draw back from him like Moses, who had refused the good offices of the angel. 20. He who spoke to Joshua was none other than the archangel Michael. 21.